Good morning. For this week, we are looking at the JSTOR database for sources about our topic. So this week, if you look in the background, you can see a picture of some turn-of-the-century baseball. So we'll continue to talk about baseball as that seems to be the way my research is headed at this point. So in the three sources that we used here, we used David Kampmeyer book, Professional Baseball's Emerald Era, Irish Catholics and early Major League Baseball from 1880 to 1910. I said book, I meant journal article. Second source was Gilbert's Working at Playing, The Culture of the Workplace and the Rise of Baseball. Gilbert's noted baseball historian, so his work is very good at informing my research whenever it comes to this topic. And then lastly, Tripp's book, The Most Popular, Unpopular Man in Baseball, Baseball Fans and Ty Cobb in the Early 20th Century. So just addressing those three sources quickly. For the Kampmeyer source, baseball was growing in popularity. So turn of the century, it is quickly becoming America's pastime. So people everywhere are playing it, north, south, immigrants, longtime people who've been in America for a long time, white people, black people, everyone is playing baseball at this point. And Irish Catholics had faced a lot of issues as far as nativism and ethnic disparagement and whatnot, some religious discrimination. So as a result, it also carried over into baseball. So we see that here in this source. The next source talked about working at playing, the culture of the workplace in baseball. So I find this really fascinating because the workplace had changed tremendously, or was changing tremendously with the Industrial Revolution going on and whatnot. So you had baseball spilling over into the workplace, and what you ended up happening was there's teams everywhere at this point, but then workplaces begin to form their baseball teams. So begin to hire people based on their ability to play baseball and whatnot. And baseball becomes kind of a way for different companies, different factories to represent themselves out in the culture of the day at the time. So that journal article is very helpful as well. And then lastly, the most popular, unpopular man in baseball talks about Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb was considered for the longest time the greatest baseball player to ever live. And even to this day, you'll still see lists of the greatest baseball players ever, and he's usually in your top 3 or 4. So Cobb was a very popular, unpopular man. Everybody loved to watch him play, but a lot of people didn't like him personally. There's been a lot of research done over the years to contradict a lot of the attitudes about Cobb, as it's turned out that a lot of the myth around Cobb has been wrong. He's painted as a racist, he's painted as an extremely hateful racist man, mainly because of a book and a movie that came out in the 60s and again in the 90s, but there's been most of the research disproves that. Unfortunately, Hollywood painted him as being the worst kind of person he could be. But anyway, this source here kind of talks a little bit about Cobb's life at the time, and there were things that did make him unpopular with people because of his treatment of other people. But most of the Hollywood treatment of Cobb has been way off base. So, thank you. Have a good day.